Good evening, fuckers. We are back with, yep, the next Train Simulator Classic request video. Who'd have thunk it? So this is a request that came from Yorksman9868, and he's decided to give me a break from freight runs that result in, like, hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of damage every time I try and move. So for this one, it's well, quite a bit easier actually. We are on the Settle to Carlisle route, and we're going to be doing the whole length of it, starting at Settle. Destination is Carlisle. I am still not 100% certain what I'm going to do with regards to the stations. So, well, let's go on to the train. So the train is a Class 47. I haven't driven a 47 in this game for quite a while. And really there's no excuse why not. So the 47s are great. They're very overlooked because they were, absolutely everywhere, and people got a bit bored of them, but yeah, there's no reason for it. They were great locos. And I'll freely admit I was one of those who was like, oh, it's another 47, and wasn't really all that fussed. But no, they don't deserve to be dismissed like that. Anyway, this particular one is part of a Railtour, which is what he quite specifically asked for. And, well, we did already have a Class 47 Railtour consist. This actually comes with this particular loco. It is a bit on the long side though. So yeah, our 47 is in Railtour Maroon, as I think they pretty much all are. It has Mark 1 coaches, which he asked for, and they are again in the maroon colour. It's got 12 of them. Now on this route there is only one station that is in any way, shape or form big enough to take 12 coaches, and that is obviously Carlisle itself. So, okay, what we'll do, some stations we will stop at, and, maybe the first 2 coaches might have, room for people to get off, if anyone really is going to get off. And for other stations, we'll just go through very slowly, seeing as it is a rail tour. People will be wanting to see, this huge bloody great train. So, yeah, if we do it like that, I'll alternate it. So the first station will just go... Actually, no, the first station we'll stop at. No, we won't. No, the first station we will go slowly through. Next station we'll stop, then slowly, then stop. So, yeah, we'll alternate between the 2. Now, as far as the specifics, again, these were particularly asked for. It is summer, it is clear. I mean, it's Britain, and it's a special event. It's always brilliant weather when it's, a special event in Britain. Why would you expect anything other than clear weather in the middle of summer? And as for the time, I've set it at 12 o'clock because I don't know if it's just my imagination, but it always seems as though rail tours start at noon. So, there we go. Right, that is the setup. Let's get this up and running. And here we are. So let's get ourselves set up. This really does not take long. That is it. Actually, I tell light, there is the instrument lights as well. There we go. So let's take a look outside, and here is our maroon livery Bosman Railways Railtour Class 47, and it has to be said, It looks fantastic, it really does. It looks absolutely superb. And our Mark 1 coaches. Yep, we've left the station, but they are still going and going. Let's take a look at them from this side. And yeah, still going. There we go. So yeah, 12 coaches. So yeah, Settle station. Okay, our loco is there as well, but yeah, we could get 3.5 coaches in there. Now, one thing I do like about the interior here, firstly, yeah, the important stuff is just scrawled in a permanent marker. But also there's all these things here. So cab light switch, yep, useful, does its job. So here we have foot warmer with warmer in inverted commas. And here cab heater in brackets apparently, and then finally here cab heater, and then in brackets, isn't this supposed to do something? Yeah, this was clearly put together by somebody who is very familiar with the Class 47 and how well the actual cab heating system actually works. Right, so Carlisle is 71.42 miles away. I keep forgetting how long this route is. It is a fair old distance. And we are rolling backwards, so let's get up and running. That is churning out plenty of clay, making sure that everyone in Settle is coughing away. So full throttle, and the engine is turning at 750 RPM. It always amazes me just how few revs are actually needed from these diesel engines in train locos. So we're on a 60 mph zone here. I think quite a lot of this route is 60 mph. So the max speed of our cab, as you can see in our high-tech display here, is 95. Certainly won't get the chance to be doing 95 anywhere on this run. Don't think we can open the windows. No, we can't. We're on a 1 in 100 uphill gradient, which is certainly impacting on our acceleration. But we are still accelerating, so it's not all bad. Horn certainly works the downside better than it does in the 47/8 and the 47/7. That's the GBR freight livery one that I have. The horn couldn't sound more asthmatic if it tried in either of those two. I am going through a bit of a early diesel appreciation phase at the moment, so this request came along at the perfect time. I am really tempted to pick up the Armstrong Powerhouse Class 37. I mean, I can afford to get one more Armstrong Powerhouse loco at this particular moment in time, but really I shouldn't be spending more than 20, maybe 25 and the class 37 is 30. So yeah, I just can't decide whether or not to take the plunge. If I was to get the AP Class 37, I would definitely get Volume 2 first. That's the earlier ones. That's the unrefurbished ones from 1960s onwards. Volume 1 is the refurbished ones, where the refurbishment started in 1980. So those ones would be slightly more modern. Another thing that really does sort of like pique my interest with regards to the Class 37 is that yeah, the Volume 2 pack, the one that I am particularly interested in, that is the one and only requirement for a fantastic BLS update that would get me the fleet of Class 97s, and yeah, I'm very tempted. Still accelerating. This uphill climb has really impacted on our acceleration. We should have reached 60 ages ago. If we were on level ground, we would have been. Unfortunately, our carriage view is this. Not great. So we have Horton in Ribblesdale. So this is the one that we are just going to go slowly through. I'm wondering if that means the next stop will be Ribblehead. That would be a good one to stop at. we crawl through here at about, yeah, sort of between 15 and 10 mph. There's hardly anyone here. I guess this Railtour didn't capture the imagination too well. So this is Horton in Ribblehead. Quite the picturesque village. Yeah, you can seriously see just how long this bloody train is. So there we go. Right, that's our visit through let's just check. Oh. See, the rear lantern here works absolutely fine. The only one that it doesn't work completely fine with is the the Caledonian sleeper. No idea why. I've got a bit of wheel slip there, but yeah, I wanted to show the old clag a bit. Certainly hear the old turbocharger wailing away there. Okay, let's get back up to speed then. So the next station we will be stopping at. Whatever that station is. I mean, there aren't a vast amount of stations on this route. So this is really a sort of rail tour, so that, yeah, the fans of the 47 not only get to travel on a train being pulled by it, but get to see the fantastic scenery of the route as well. I don't know who it is that coded this particular 47, but this is absolutely up there with like some of the best ones. Features, audio, visual, everything. This is a great one. And I mean, let's face it, even if you're not a Class 47 fan, and to be honest, if you're watching videos on this channel and you're not a fan of the Class 47, then I would have to ask what the fuck you're doing here. But yeah, even if you're not a fan of the 47, you see one looking like this, you would soon become one. It looks so good. As far as who actually did this particular 47, well, we can rule out two. We can rule out Kuju and we can rule out Dovetail Games in their various names, and we can also rule out Iron Horse because it's just far too good for it to have been any of those. The audio's not quite right for it to be just trains, so we can rule them out as well. I mean, it could be an Armstrong Powerhouse one. It's lacking a couple of details, so I'm not entirely convinced by that possibility. So it could be something like, it's not wagons because all of the standard keyboard functions are in the normal place, so it's not them. I mean, it could be master key simulations. I suppose ultimately it doesn't matter, but I will double check to find out which version of this Class 47 this is. Because, okay, you do get the 47s included with quite a few routes, and I think it's part of the original European Assets Pack. But I'm certain it's not this version, so I'll double check, find out which one this is. This is the one to get. There are plenty of consists in the options, in the quick drive options, not just this Railtour one. Close for a bit because we have a 30 mph limit coming up as we approach Ribblehead. That 30 mph is very likely to be the Ribblehead viaduct. That's the only drawback. The AWS alert disappears pretty much as soon as it comes up, whether you've pressed the acknowledge key or not. You do still have to press it, but yeah, you're not seeing the alert there. Actually, that happens on a few of the 47s. 47/8 that comes with the Huddersfield line, it happens on that as well. Well, this 30 mph section clearly is not the viaduct, so I'm rather glad about that. We get to stop as we, before we are crossing the viaduct. So, not very many doors will open, some have. Yeah, it's 3. doors are closed. Give it some of the old heavy amount of clag there. Continue going slowly as we pass this platform here as well. There's the viaduct over there. So it is only 30 mph speed limit as we across the viaduct. Single line, obviously. Fantastic sight. We are approaching a 60 zone. So the next station we'll just go slowly through again. Quite a contrast in eras there. We've got semaphore signals, but we also had TPWS blocks within the rails. Can't remember what the ETH. I guess we should really put that on. That's going to increase revs a bit. Not much. We're into the 60 zone. Still in this 1 in 100 climb. I suspect we are going to have to start coming down at some point. I also just thought, okay, I'll turn the ETS on, but I suspect these Mark 1 carriages that we are pulling are not going to need them. Yeah, like I was ever going to pay attention to that. So this 47 is quite clearly one that has undergone a substantial amount of upgrading and updating, being a 47/8. It's very clearly a diesel electric. It's not a straight out and out diesel, which the original 47s were. It's a long old tunnel, this one. I didn't realise that we had a tunnel of this sort of length on here. We are now going downhill, so let's reduce our speed, or at least reduce the throttle. So speed is coming down. We're not, well, yeah, we are coasting, but not, we haven't completely shut off the engine. So we have what looks like a very blurry 30 mph speed limit coming up, and there's why, the next station. So this station we will just be going through. This is Dent. Not named after Grace Dent, is it? She's even from this area. Braking a bit harder than we are. Okay, so we're fine for the limit. Slow down a bit more. for the slow ride through the station. Crowds have turned out in their droves for this one. So yeah, here is Dent Station. I always thought the first class carriages were at the front rather than the rear here. There we are. Dent Station in all its glory. We are now in the 60 zone. Let's get our speed back up again. We are still going downhill. I mean, it's a very gradual downhill gradient, 1 in 264, but I think it's enough to help the acceleration rate. Certainly wouldn't be accelerating, you know, if we were coasting, but it's not as if the 47 needs a great deal of help. Bear in mind that yeah, this thing is hauling 12 carriages, and they are Mark 1 carriages, which were the heaviest. So there's a fair bit of weight that this thing is shifting. In terms of power, this thing is generating like somewhere in the region of between 2.5 and 2,700 horsepower. I think 2,500, not 2.5 horsepower. I wasn't paying attention. So we are going to be stopping at Carlisle, so we need to start braking a bit here. ideally we would be approaching this station fairly slowly, but yeah, we're coming in quite a bit faster than I would have liked. I think we're going to overshoot this platform somewhat, to put it mildly. Well, we have, but to be honest, we haven't overshot it anything like as much as I thought we were going to. I mean, it's not great, but I thought it was going to be a lot worse than this. So yeah, none of the doors have opened. And I think that's because the loco has passed the next signal. So I mean the doors. Oh, hang on. There you go. The doors did open. Well, there's a decent number of carriages on the, you know, on the actual platform itself. So this is Carlisle station. Right, we can get back underway. Few sidings here. Looks like this must have been a somewhat major freight area at some point. Not a hugely tall viaduct. The length is certainly something. I mean, yeah, okay, it's not as grand as old Riverhead one, but I bet you that viaduct took a hefty amount of time to build. no idea what the next station is or how far down the line it is. This is another one that we will be going through. Admittedly slowly, but we will be going through it. I didn't want to switch on. Same signal bell sound there as is in the APT. So this feels like quite a steep downhill section here, 1 in 100. I mean, having the same bell sound is probably, yeah, that's as far as it's ever likely to go when it comes to comparisons between a Class 47 and an APT. It's great to drive, but yeah, it's can't really sort of compare the two. Blimey, speed really shoots up when we take the brakes off. Partly because the brakes on Mark 1 carriages are not great. Take us down to about 55. Jesus Christ. Still accelerating, even with the brakes on. Immediately, yeah, we're on minimum reduction. See, that's working out quite nicely. I would rather have our speed maintained. That's exactly what it's doing. Now 1 in 97. It's eased off quite a bit here. I don't think it's going to stay that way. Clearly getting steeper around here, so we'll see how much. I'll carry on coasting so we've got a bit of you know, headway once we do start picking up speed again. So here we go, 1 in 100 downhill again. No idea what braking system this thing uses. They're too good to be crappy vacuum brakes, but I mean, they must just be air brakes. But once they start actually kicking in, they are properly decent. I've forgotten if we're stopping here or going through it. We're going through it, yeah, that's right. I overshot the last one. Well, let's start slowing down a bit. We don't want to be shooting through this one at you know, top speed. Or do we? Okay, yeah, let's have one station where we go through at yeah, max speed. Alright, we're not going max speed, but we're still doing, you know, 54 mile an hour as near as damn it. Here we are at Kirby Stephen Station. Not bad. I think we've released the brakes a bit now. We've lost 10 mph, so we've got a bit of speed we can pick up. fast approaching the bottom of this downhill run. Ground has levelled out. So even though it is still going downhill, 1 in 200, it's not steep enough for us to be picking up speed. So much so, let's apply a little throttle. See what this does once the engine cuts in. Not a lot, let's nudge it up a bit more. The scenery here is certainly impressive, but again, you know, this is a paid for DLC. Now think back to the Conwy Valley run. Oh, we are on a 1 in 100 downhill. No wonder our speed picked up. We are about halfway now. interior cab lighting isn't very well done. That's about the only weak thing about this particular loco. When we were going through that tunnel there, we should have been in total darkness, but no. In fact, the lighting within the cab was no different compared to when we were in broad daylight here. So that's not great. Ground level out, but it's about to start going uphill. Humphrey Station next. We are stopping here. We want to be approaching the station fairly slowly, being a Railtour. Probably want to be going slower than this. Still have the TPWS set up here. ahead is clear. Those signals are fine. So this is Appleby station. Doors on this coach have not opened, which is utterly ludicrous. How many coaches did not make it on the station? Plenty. At least 4. Okay, doors have shut. mph limit coming up, and we are on a 1 in 121 downhill, which is why our speed was continuing to go up. This does suggest that this station, which I'm assuming is Kirkby, is disused. Into the 30 zone. It's completely level, completely gun barrel straight, so I can only assume that there is something with the terrain here that's the reason why we're having to go this slowly. It might be, you know, slightly marshy ground or something. Entering a 60 zone here. I'm not going to be entering, I can't tell if it's a mine or a power station. Whatever it is, we're not going in there. We can now go 60, so let's put the power up. No sign of any sort of power lines coming out of it, so I can only assume it's a mine of some kind. are going downhill. Hopefully it will stay at 1 in 243. Now 1 in 132, and we are picking up speed, but at a very slow rate. It's actually not too bad. Old signal box there. Yeah, no lights are on in here, so we should now be in complete darkness, but no. So the max speed for the whole of this run has been 60 mph. And the last time I was requested to do a settle in Carlisle, it was in a class 222. So next station is Langwastley. The name of it just rolls off the tongue. So we'll be just going through there. But yeah, we will be going slowly through it. Slow down a little bit quicker than we are. here is Langwasby Station. Again, the crowd's really turned out for this run through here. Right, let's get our speed back up again. Disused station. Memory serves, yeah, there are a fair few on this line. We're on a 1 in 110 downhill. Again, I wasn't really paying attention. Speeding again. So, Lazenby station coming up, or Lazenby and whatever it is. Lazenby and Kirkoswald. This one we will be stopping at. Like quite a small station. I'll be amazed if we can get 3 carriages on this platform. braking a bit too gradually there. I've overshot the platform by a lot more than I wanted to. Well, some of the doors did open anyway. So, in fact, yeah. Alright, the front part of this carriage has overshot it slightly, but yeah, that's it. I mean, obviously if we go to the rear, yeah. Yeah, there's the platform there. I mean, Jesus Christ. Less than half the train. I think the doors shut, didn't they? Yep, they did. So, well, have one last look around. So this is Lazenby and Kirk Oswald. It certainly looks nice enough. No wheel slip this time. I do like how you can hear both the diesel engine obviously and the electric motors as they're gradually sort of winding up and up and up. Climbing at 165 gradient at the moment. That is affecting acceleration only very slightly, but it is affecting it. We are approaching a downhill section. Let's see if we continue accelerating as we are going downhill. It is 1 in 160, so I wouldn't be surprised if we are, especially as it's now 1 in 132. We are, but at an extremely slow rate. Now that it's leveled out, we are back to losing speed again. Armorsthwaite station next. That is one that we'll just be going through. We're going to be going through here a lot faster than I would have liked. So, it's Armorsthwaite station. Speed up again. May be very different to the scenery and terrain to the Scottish Highlands and that, but it still looks fantastic. running 129 downhill, and our speed will continue to climb even with us throttling down. Indeed it is. What that was there for. There's no speed limit reduction coming up. Running 159, so I think we can start to speed up a bit, throttle up. We're less than 5 miles from Carlisle now. We've even got regular signals, not the old semaphore ones here. Disused station right here. Yep, very much so. 34 downhill. I think our speed is pretty much being maintained. We're not losing, okay, we are losing some, but at a staggeringly slow rate. Well, that's fine, because we're probably going to have to start braking fairly soon. Carlisle is 3 miles. must be points that we're going over. Certainly won't bother accelerating once we get to that 50 zone, because once we're in it we'll be less than a train length away from having to go back down to 20 again. Carlisle will appear on the display any second. There it is. Putting us on platform 5, and clearly see there is no way we are going to be able to get the entire train on platform 5. I have to be braking a hell of a lot harder than I am. We're in a 50 zone now, but yeah, just seconds away from another 20 zone. So 20 now. Running 174 uphill is slowing us down even more. The way is clear for platform 5. So here at last we join the West Coast Main Line. Or at least we run alongside it for a very short while. there's clearly no way we are getting the entire train on here, but we'll try and get as much of it as we can. And there we are. Look at that, right up to the buffers. So that was settled to Carlisle in the Railtour class 47. And yeah, there's the rear of the train, absolutely nowhere near the station. And that was a great run. Really did like that one. And the 47, yeah, I can't believe I've been ignoring it for a long old time, but this one in particular was a fantastic train to drive. So yeah, really good stuff. Let's have a look at how I did. It won't be fantastic reading, there's quite a few speeding errors that I picked up. Wheel slippage, well yeah, I got that when I was trying to come out of the stations with the you know, the max clag and that. Speeding 5 times, I actually thought it was going to be worse than that. I mean, it's still not great, but yeah, I'm alright with that. So there we go, yeah, great run that, really good one. So that brings this video to an end, and we will see you at the next one.